Morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are watching this webinar. This session is called Mastering Threat Hunting and Custom Threat Intelligence. My name is Pavel and I'm responsible for the Flowmon product line, and I will be your guide today through the content. Agenda today. We will be focusing on threat hunting and threat intelligence, and we will be looking at two specific use cases. One is retrospective analysis, where you've been informed about some recent threat or attack or whatever malicious situation it is, and you have received an indicators of compromise. And in that case, you want to do a retrospective analysis to understand if these indicators of compromise occurred in your environment. At the same time, what you would like to do is to leverage these indicators of compromise for an proactive detection. So we will take a look at how we can use this custom threat intelligence in Flowmon for both retrospective analysis as well as proactive detection. Usually we go through the theory first, but this time we do it differently. We'll start right away with live demos, and then we do more detailed explanation how it works and what you have seen. So let me set the situation. Imagine that you are a security analyst or you're a head of IT, and you receive a note from your internal legal team in the spirit of, we have been asked by some cybersecurity agency, National Cybersecurity Authority, or whatever it is, to respond to a specific question about a potential threat actor affecting our environment. And the agency provided us with a set of indicators of compromise and is asking us to respond within a couple of days if we can confirm that we have seen in our environment these indicators of compromise, or if we did not. And they usually ask you to do this retrospectively for quite some time. This is no science fiction. This is a daily reality. There are regulated organizations within the critical infrastructure, and more regulation is coming. Europe is adopting this NIS2 framework that basically requires organizations that are important or critical from the national perspective to implement security measures and be able to respond for such questions or inquiries from the authority. So now what you're gonna do? You need to do a retrospective analysis to understand if these indicators of compromise were seen in your environment and who communicated with those. So let's do it. Usually what you will get is a list of IPs of botnet command control centers or infected devices in general, and you want to validate if there was any communication with these malicious IPs. So I'm gonna show you that live, how I would approach this analysis. So let me just copy these malicious IPs, and I'll go to the monitoring center to analysis, where I can select the time interval. So let me just select this week for the purpose of the demo. Let me select the time interval that I want to analyze, and let me do it in the traditional way. So I want to filter IPs, and the list of IPs is like this. Now, when I run the query and I want to aggregate by source and destination IP, so I will see internal IPs in my network that might have communicated with these devices, and I run process, I'm now running a query for a long time interval over a lot of data which means that it may take some time. Now we can see estimation. It will take like 5 minutes, for example. So let me show you a better way. When I stop the processing, I can just move on. So I will remove the filter here, and I will use feature called IP index, which was introduced in Flowmon 12.4. And I can put the list of the IP addresses into the index file, which means that now Flowmon will use index to validate communication with these IPs in the first round, and in the second round will use this additional filter to show me the result. So you will get the same result as with traditional analysis, but it will run way faster, as you will see now. Now I've clicked process, and you see that I'm done. I've just analyzed 1 week or 5 days of the data in my extensive environment, and I was able to validate in few seconds that there was no communication in my network with these malicious IPs. So this is a way how you can very quickly and efficiently analyze large data sets for indicators of compromise. So let's continue. Now we have these indicators of compromise. So how we can leverage those to detect any potential attempts to communicate with these threat actors from now on. So the answer is proactive detection, which you can do using Flowmon ADS. So now what I'm gonna do, I'll go to anomaly detection system, and I will leverage the blacklists functionality. As you can see, there are already known different threat actors and different malicious IPs, domains, URLs that are provided by us. This is what you see as an origin, Flowmon. So this is provided directly by us, but you can do custom IOCs or custom reputation data as well. So when I say now new local blacklist, I will just select the file where I have those malicious IPs, and I will put there some name. This is just for a test, so let me just do it this way. And I will now import this malicious IPs into ADS. So now the custom list is imported. It contains these 5 IPs that we have already seen, and it's being immediately used for the detection just from now on. You have also the option to use it as a remote blacklist, so it doesn't need to be uploaded to ADS. It can be published on some web server, so you can update the blacklist there on the web server, and ADS will automatically update it in the internal database. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm just going to simulate communication with one of those IPs. So I will run a couple of attempts to access that specific IP address, and we will see in a moment that these attempts to communicate with the malicious IP will be detected and reported as events in the anomaly detection system. And I'm going to demonstrate that in a moment. For now, let me just continue in the presentation and explain a bit of theory behind. So as you have seen, You can use Flowmon as your center for threat detection and threat hunting capabilities. And the way how you achieve this is through continuous monitoring of the whole network environment using our probes or using router switches. So you do have a network telemetry data that you store on the Flowmon collector, and you design the storage to fit your requirements in terms of how you want to do retrospective analysis. If you want the retention of the data for 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, maybe it's defined by some regulations. So you just design the disk capacity properly, so you have sufficient history. And on top of the data, you can run your manual threat hunting and forensic analysis tasks. So this way you can achieve compliance with different regulative standards that are requesting to log all the network activity in your environment and provide evidence when required. As I've mentioned already, in Europe, there is this NIS2 framework that defines specific requirements for companies to secure their environment, monitor network, monitor logs. So it's fairly comprehensive regulation that's aiming to improve the overall level of cybersecurity. And this is how Flowmon fits to that regulation. For the proactive threat detection, what you need to do, you need to analyze the network telemetry that you are collecting live in real time. And you do that through the anomaly detection system with different detection methods that we provide, but also you do that through indicators of compromise. So either provided automatically by us through the Flowmon Threat Intelligence service. This is what you have seen as blacklists that are coming from us, that are originating from Flowmon. And there is also the option to bring a custom threat intelligence that you might have from any third-party sources that you can imagine. Maybe now is a good time to go back to the anomaly detection system and take a look at if we have detected malicious communication. So this is it. The detected event looks like this. There is the IP address that we have accessed and is detected as a communication with an IP address that is currently blacklisted. And there are some characteristics about the detection, about the network traffic that is associated with that malicious IP address. So this way you can trace it down to the individual network sessions. You will see ports involved, amount of transfer data, and all these details. So what are the threat intelligence sources in more details? The Flowmon origin threat intelligence sources talk about botnets, attackers, phishing sources, malware sources, and these are continuously provided and updated by us, and it's basically part of the support for the product. You have the option to bring custom threat intelligence sources, which refer to blacklists or reputation databases that can be either locally updated to Flowmon ADS or can be accessed remotely and published on some web server. There is also the option to integrate with so-called MISP threat intelligence platform, and I'm gonna show you what is that in a moment. Scope of the IOCs basically covers network-related indicators of compromise, so IP addresses, domain names, host names, URLs, or even JA3 fingerprints that fingerprint the encrypted communication and are computed from encrypted sessions when these are being established. I've mentioned MISP. MISP is an open source threat intelligence and sharing platform. It's an environment that was built to share different indicators of compromise within the cybersecurity community. So you can deploy the MISP platform and connect to the communities that exist. These are even focused on specific industry verticals. And then you will be able to receive different events or different alerts for threats together with related indicators of compromise. And Flowmon will automatically integrate with that MISP platform that you operate. You just need to provide a basic configuration like URL API key, and that's it. And Flowmon will automatically ingest all the new indicators of compromise that are available in MISP and will use those for the threat detection in your environment. Let me show you a different example with some network related indicators of compromise. So let's see what we have here. So in this case, we also have information about different payloads, but here you can have IP addresses, URLs, whatever stands for a network indicator of compromise. And these network indicators of compromise are automatically ingested into the anomaly detection system. You can see that this is our integration to a MISP server. Currently, we have 5,600 something malicious items there that stand for different webs or domains, and it has additional details like a reference to these MISP events. When it comes to configuration, as I mentioned, it's fairly simple. There is the URL, there is API key, and that's pretty much it. You can also limit the dates that you want to ingest the historical data. Here is a formal summary how this works. You need to run a MISP server. You are monitoring the network traffic, obviously. You have deployed Flowmon ADS. So you then implement you use the MISP API to automatically collect indicators of compromise by ADS and use those to detect events in your environment. So this is all you need to do if you want to use MISP. And it's pretty much the same concept that applies for custom threat intelligence in CSV format. So if you have this additional source, if you don't want to use MISP, you just publish these files on a web server and point Flowmon to those CSV files, and Flowmon will automatically update based on new content in those files. When you detect an event with these custom IOCs, it's reported as any other standard Flowmon event. So it has all the details, references, the network telemetry, as we have seen, and it can be further processed for alerting, integrations, packet capture. You can send that event to SIEM system in the same way as you are used to with all the other events detected by Flowmon ADS. Here is a summary of what you can do. There are obviously email notifications that are designed either for humans or for machine processing that can be triggered automatically immediately or can be aggregated, depends on the event priority. There is event logging through SNMP traps or through syslog. So this way you usually integrate with log management tools or CM tools, depending where you want to send the events. There is the built-in triggered packet capture. If you have Flowmon Packet Investigator in place, you can automatically trigger packet capture as a response to detected event. So you will have it documented with a forensic level pickup that you can use afterwards. And last but not least, you can do active response. There is an option to create a custom script to actively respond to a detected threat through, for example, firewall or network access control. Usually what these scripts do, they trigger a third-party system through some kind of an API to block the network traffic and put the device into quarantine. And you can find on our support portal, you can find existing integrations to firewall vendors and other mitigation systems that you may have in place. So that's it. And now I'm happy to take any questions if these exist. So I see a question about MISP community. Is there any recommended MISP community, for example, from NUKIP? So when it comes to NUKIP, the National Cybersecurity Authority in Czech Republic, NUKIP actually operates an instance of their own MISP, and they provide access to that to organizations that are regulated and that cooperate with NUKIP. So there you can connect to their MISP and you will get IOCs directly from NUKIP that will enrich the, I would say, standard publicly available indicators of compromise. That's probably what I would recommend, to get in touch with NUKIP, because that would be the best source of these indicators of compromise. Okay, I don't see any further questions. So thank you for joining us today. Have a great day and goodbye.